Well, hello. Today we're going to make a gorgeous little tortoise cake topper, and it's small enough that it can go on cupcakes as well. And you could even make it bigger with Rice Krispie treats or rice cereal treats for the body. You don't need many tools for this. The list is at the front as always. But do you remember when you were children, you were trying to work out the workings for a tortoise? You just used to dip your fingers into the paste. Well, we're going to take it a bit more detailed today. Did you see my business card? Because I didn't have my cookie swivel back then. So I've got a mark in, and that is going to divide between the top and the bottom. But I'm going to pinch that out. There we are. Pinching it out so that it's got a little overhang now. But this is going to be making all the areas for the head and the legs to go in. So I'm using my Dresden. Can you see me flattening the bottom of the shell at the front? So the middle hole will end up being the main area. Can you see how big it is according to the Dresden? So hollow in right the other side. So turn your Dresden round and push it in. And that's just going to give us lots of lovely space to put the head and then the feet as well. Doing the same as well there. You see, flattened down the bottom. Give it all a pinch back in and make sure it's in the right place. But we need to mark the shell because when we dust it, all this lovely colour is going to go in. So it depends what tools you've got. This is just using a regular Dresden. So you mark a circle, and then can you see those little dividing lines? And I'm just adding in all the little lines by hand using the veining tool side of my Dresden. So you could freeze frame this to watch where you need to put those lines. You can also work off a real tortoise. And if I keep saying turtle, I do apologise. There's a little turtle in my book, so we do turtles a lot. So I love making these really nice and floaty, the bits on the edge of the shell. Now this is another tool. It's a soft taper tool from Cerart. And it's really nice, wiggly silicone tool. And it's a food grade one. But it just means I can put markings on that aren't as strong as with the Dresden. So continuing those markings down onto the side, and if you've accidentally flattened any of the top, because of course I've had my thumbs and my fingers in the way, don't worry, you can go back in and you can make those marks really strong. There, can you see I obviously had flattened them. And with the Saracino pasta model, if it's in your hands too long, it will get soft because it's actually designed to be on your table. You want somewhere to push the head and to push the legs into place. So the easiest way to do that, I'm just using a paintbrush handle. One for the head, two for legs, and at the back, 2 legs. You don't need to make a little hole for the tail yet, but put lots of lovely wrinkles around the holes where those legs are going to be. So there's the exact measurements, but if you have a look on my board, you can see it in centimetre sizes, and the pieces are no bigger than 1 centimetre tall, so you can see how big that is on there. You're just going to make all of them into tic-tac shapes, and each tic-tac shape is about 2 centimetres long. And you watch in slow motion how I squash the bottom of that foot. You see it gives it a gorgeous shape already. And I'm going to show you a few methods to do the claws now. So that's pinching with the tweezers. That's one way. Give each claw a little pinch with your fingers too. And I also snip them at the bottom as well with the tweezers just to separate them out. Then I use the Dresden just to pull them around a bit if I needed to. So here's another way using scissors. So you can do the same way and push the spare paste underneath. And another way, this could be using a straw. It's actually a paintbrush cover. And then separate with the Dresden. So you can pretty much choose the way that you prefer. But whatever you do, each single way, pinch those claws so that they stick out. You can also use the sort of vein inside your Dresden to make the marks, or you can use the rounded Dresden side. Can you see it's much wider? And I'm using it like a scoop shape to separate those toes or the claws from the actual foot. So you need to do that to all of them. And I know you wouldn't do different methods for one animal, but during this class, I just wanted to give people different options and different ways to do it. And some ways can be untidy, some ways you must think might look better, but some way might be more difficult for you than others. So this way, you've got a few options. We do need to get some texture onto this foot though. Watch this. Simplest methods in the world. We're going to use either, you can use non-slip matting, but we're going to use foil. Scrunch up your foil and open it back out. Then you're going to place the foil over your hand, lay down the foot onto the foil and wrap that foil around the foot. And if you miss a bit, you can always go in and add a little bit extra. How cute is that? Lovely wrinkly foot. So I'm going to do that again, just so you can see it again. So try placing it face down so you get a little bit more texture to the top of the foot. And can you see in here, I'm shaping it the same time as I'm pressing it through. It's a really good method of doing. And that non-slip matting, if you're doing it on clothing, it really gives a good woolly jumper effect. Oops, there we go. Look at that, so cute. Now, they are too long, but it's always better to have an area to hold on to while you're working. So I always make legs, arms longer than I need, and I cut them to size. So you hold it against your tortoise to see, and then twiddle where you'd like to cut. But we're leaving a little pointy bit. Watch now. There, can you see that pointy bit? That's going to be glued inside the hole. Now my shell has gone cold, so I've got a little bit of edible glue on my brush. And can you see, just pop it in that hole, and it's a really great plug and socket method. And the tail, I've just done a tiny teardrop and I've tucked it underneath the back of the shell. 1/2 gram for that tail, it really is dinky. And if you feel anywhere looks smooth, go back with that foil. So with the head, again, I'm working out now how big I want it to be, but the front of a tortoise or a turtle, they've got this beak sort of shape. So can you see I'm shaping the front by pinching between my fingers. I work out how long I'd like it to be and put a little dent, and then I add the plug section. There, can you see you're not going to use the plug section? That's going to be twiddled down the same as we did with the legs. So I've added texture to the head already. And now I need to do this beaky shaped mouth. And I found a scalpel was good, but you could use a cocktail stick. Can you see the shapes? That's the side view and back to the front. And when you want to do the nostrils, all you need to do is to use that cocktail stick. Sometimes the simplest tools do the best jobs, don't they? I'm going to mark in and make quite a big hole because I want them to have lovely big eyes, because otherwise by the time you add the eyelids on, because we're adding top and bottom eyelids today, the hole would be too small. Now you can either choose to use a bit of black paste there, or you've got black in your equipment list so you could paint it later on. Edible glue inside and squash a little bit of paste inside. And don't worry about that little bit you can see, because this is going to be covered now. So this is all using our spares that we've cut off on the legs. Can you see how tiny those little eyelids are? Really small. I would say half a gram of paste would make all 4. So that's top and bottom. And the good thing with painting all of the eye is it gives it a little bit of a shine, because edible glue is a slightly shiny thing. There we are. Can you see? Just the bottom eyelid. You can neaten up the shapes in a bit as well, so don't worry about that. Now, can you see the angle of this top eyelid makes him happy or sad? Can you see he's quite grumpy until I push it forward, and then it makes him nice and sweet again. And curl around those using your Dresden. And if you've accidentally exposed a little bit of black, make sure you can use your edible glue to wipe it away, or a little bit of water. But black paste leaves residue, so don't be afraid to clean up after yourself when you're doing this. He's looking quite cute. And this is where we twiddle the neck again. So I'm cutting off the excess, but I thought because we were doing it in class that night, we're using a cocktail stick to support the head. What you could actually do is make the back of that neck very, very pointy, let it dry overnight, and then push it into place. You do need the extra hole with the cocktail stick though to support the cocktail stick that you're putting in. Can you see how much gap is underneath his head as well? You could pop a little bit of folded up kitchen paper until it dries, and that would be amazing. When I'm doing stuff for kids, I don't use the cocktail sticks at all. I leave everything overnight and it's great. Oh, painting time, this is where it comes to life. So I've mixed a little tiny couple of flecks of brown in with white, and I've added some liquid, so vodka or culprit dipping solution. And first of all, I painted the white. I dust in all the brown, so a dry brush for the dusting. And because I used the dipping solution, which is the high strength alcohol for the white and brown mixture on the top, it's already dry. So when you dust over it, it starts to blend it in. Can you see it's gone suddenly darker there? I've mixed in some black in with the brown now. You can also add a little bit of alcohol onto it if you think, oh, this is not working. So add a little bit of the alcohol in and you'll get a darker colour. But if you go back and forth with a little bit of moisture, let it dry, use your dusting brush, can you see you can get lovely mixtures of colours on this shell? And I also go in straight with the completely black dust because I really do find that gives me a good depth in those, in between the gaps, onto the nose, over the claws. It looks fantastic then. Only one more layer now with this painting. I'm mixing brown or black or that brown and black mixture with some glaze with an old brush. And I'm catching the claws again, catching the eyes, inside the mouth. It just really makes a difference. Use the same sticky glazy brush to fix a tiny dot of white Saracino on there. And those eyes will sparkle. So all we need to do is add a little bit of spray glaze. Watch how this brings out the colour, but look how different it looks when it dries. Amazing. So take care. I will see you next time. Happy caking.